Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Consistently OK podcast. My name is Luke, and I am joined by the Nick Good. Yes. This episode, we're talking about several things. We're talking about The Mandalorian Season 3 and its final episode. We're talking about The Marvelous Miss Maisel, which, if you've not seen, then stop right now, go and watch Seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, and watch it, and then come back and listen to us talk about it. And we talk a little bit about the new Flash trailer and our thoughts about what we think could happen and if we're looking forward to it or not. So, yeah, all very exciting. And we also talk about our Kickstarter. That's right at the beginning of this episode. You're going to hear about it right now. So look forward to it and grab a cup of tea, sit back and enjoy. Nick, how are you?
I'm all good, yeah. I am tired, because we're doing a Kickstarter, and I forgot to hit record about 5 minutes ago. So we're
Yes.
yeah.
So there is a version of this in the multiverse where we've already had this conversation, but Nick did not record it. So now we are starting again. So for Nick and I, it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
But let's
For the
just
next 30
go
days,
over.
it's going to be Groundhog Day.
Yeah, let's just go over what we talked about previously on a podcast that wasn't being recorded. We've got a Kickstarter.
Yes.
It's launching the 11th of May. I wrote some of that comic. You wrote some of that comic. Our good friend Harry did a lot of the artwork for that comic. And we have another comic attached to it. So it's a two-parter. Odyssey, which we wrote together. Harry did the artwork. We released chapter 1 many years ago. This one has chapter 1 and chapter 2. It's combined. And a second comic, also in this volume, called Whistleblower, which is a fantastic comic. And again, it was part 1 released. Well, that was released the same time as Odyssey?
Yeah, I think it was like within a month.
Within a month.
Yeah, I think, because I'm pretty sure we debuted both at CommuniCon in 2019. I think.
So they're both together. The volume is called Lone Tales, and we're very excited about it. We're hoping that the Kickstarter is a big success. So if you're interested in comics, you want to back us, follow the links on our social media. It's pretty much all we talk about these days.
Yep.
And we'll put the link up on our Consistently Pod account as well. So have a look, get notified on launch, and on the launch, just back us.
Yeah.
Support us.
Yeah.
We need your love.
We do. Yeah. You can listen to us and then read our writings. What more could you want?
If you back this comic, Nick will get some sleep. And then when we record our next podcast, he'll remember to hit record.
Yeah. If you value me hitting record, just back up.
If you value Nick's sanity, then back the comic so he can get some rest.
Yeah.
Right. So outside of our Kickstarter, what else has been going on in the world? There was a finale of The Mandalorian Season 3.
There was, yes.
Which we both see in our last podcast. We talked about Nick went on an adventure to the Star Wars celebration. So he had an early bird preview of the penultimate episode.
Yeah, I
of
did.
Mandalorian. Which I have now seen because I am a mere peasant who did not go to the Star Wars celebration and thus did not see it early. So I had to use my subscription of Disney Plus and watch it like everyone else.
If it helps,
I've now seen that.
I did end up seeing the opening 7 minutes of that episode 3 times.
It does kind of help because you had to see it 3 times in the same day.
No,
separate.
Well, twice on the same day, because they showed us the 7 minutes during the panel of Mando. They were like, here's the opening 7 minutes, which was obviously the one where they like mentioned Thrawn, and it was all the Imperial people, and it was Moff Gideon's return, and it was big. And then at the end of that, they were like, oh, come back later and you can watch the whole episode. So I saw the 7 minutes again, but in the context of the whole episode. And then when it came out on the Wednesday, I watched it again on Disney Plus.
So maybe you're the peasant.
Possibly for watching the same thing 3 times.
Yeah,
Hmm.
sucker. But we have seen it, so let's talk about. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about in the last podcast. I didn't see the last 10 minutes of the penultimate episode.
Yeah.
So I got to the bit of that podcast where they were in their home world
thing. Yeah.
Mando town.
Yeah.
And
Mandalore.
they walked into a trap basically,
Yeah.
and loads of shit went down. And the big guy in his big Mando costume, he closed the gate and he was like, "Go," and then Bo-Katan was like, "No," but then she did. She just left him,
Yeah.
and he put up a really good fight. And then all of a sudden, these awesome. I'm not very good with names. Everyone knows this. These mofos in red came out.
Praetorian guards, I think is what they are.
Praetorian guards, yeah. She's better than me because you saw that opening 7 minutes 3 times, and and then they just killed him, which is a spoiler. So they killed him good, and it was very sad, but it was very like action packed, which I think I've already openly said, like, it's taken quite a while for most of these Star Wars series to like get to like the action part, and then this whole episode was very action packed. And he died. And Moff Gideon, he had a super suit. But it's not called a super suit. It's called a Dark Trooper.
Yeah, it's like a Mandalorian Dark Trooper thing, isn't it? Because it's like Dark Trooper but a Beskar.
So yes, that's what it is.
Sturdy stuff.
So he has that, and he doesn't walk very comfortably in it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he's super strong, as we see in the season finale, which was a very good season finale, Nick.
It was great. I know it's had some criticism online, and I feel like it's a bit harsh because I thought it was, just good. Like, stakes were high. I wasn't entirely sure if either Mando or Bo-Katan would survive. There was a point where I was like, I reckon they're going to kill one of them off, and they didn't. But that shows you how good the writing and directing was, that they made me think that.
That is good. You know, that we're both agreeing that we liked it, but only the other day I had a conversation with someone who said, "I really like your podcast." And I said, "Oh, thanks very much." And he said, "Do you know what I like about your podcast? That you and Nick don't really agree most of the time." And I thought,
there's still time.
All right, then that's the hook. So I hated the season finale. It was crap. But yeah, it was good. It was good, and I agree. I thought they easily could, because like Pedro Pascal, that's not his name in this thing.
Din
Djarin. He's kind of taken a little bit of a backseat, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Bo-Katan. So it could have gone. Pedro Pascal's a busy man. I mean, he's probably not in that suit most of the time, but he's a busy man.
Yeah.
So could have gone either way with him, and but it didn't. So it was good, and I thought it was good. It was like kind of non-stop action again. I really liked the fight. It felt very like big, like a proper Star Wars battle, right? With Bo-Katan and Din, whatever his name is,
Djarin,
and Moff Gideon.
Yeah,
it's weird that I can't remember the main character's name, but I remember all the sub characters' names, which is very surprising. But I felt quite worried for Grogu as well. He's in his costume, his suit, which I really like, the yes and no suit, and then that gets destroyed. He's just bouncing around the room. But he handles himself pretty well, that little guy, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean the scene where he goes off like into the other room with the fighting,
Red guys.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit.
Done for.
Yeah, and it was just really well paced. I thought like they did the action really well, like in the same way that in the penultimate episode, I think that scene with I think his name's Pax Vizsla, I think is the big Mandalorian that dies.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah,
I know all the sub characters but him.
I thought that was done really well as well, because the pacing of that is like he does kick ass. Like he takes some hits, but he kicks ass, and then it's like
he does really well for a long time, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and it's not like a quick death either.
No,
they have to batter him down.
Yeah, and then when they turn up, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah,
and they just shank him.
That's always pretty cool, isn't it? Like when they come out, it's like slow motion and they're walking out. It feels very like Lord of the Rings, when the first time you see the bloody names. When Aragorn's up there in the tower.
Nazgul.
yeah, and they're like swooping in, it's a bit slow motion. It's kind of like that. It's like the bit where you think like, well, these hobbits are fucked, and you think
Yeah.
this big guy, he's done for, but he did put up a hell of a fight,
Mm.
and it's a shame because
Yeah.
he was in this quite a lot, wasn't he, this season? That guy.
Yeah, he had a bigger role.
So,
And I'm pretty sure in the first, I don't know if it was in the first season, but I think in Clone Wars, the series, I think it's voiced by Jon Favreau.
okay,
And I think he was in the suit in season one. I could be completely wrong on this, but obviously they've changed him out because I'm pretty sure they had an actor play him for this season. I'm guessing once he started
okay.
getting more screen time, Favreau was like, I just can't do both.
Can't be in a suit anymore.
Yeah, got to focus on the right.
Got to do cooking shows, and
Love the chef show. God, it's so good.
good show, isn't it?
Hope that's bad.
And I really like the end. I thought it was very good. Like it was nice because it kind of set him up on his adventures again, which I think probably a lot of people were a bit disappointed in because it wasn't much of his like sort of adventures with Grogu. That he had a lot of in season one. Obviously, he doesn't really want to be with Grogu. Season 2, there are a few more adventures, but this was kind of like, hey, I need jobs, I'm a bounty hunter. So I think that's something to look forward to in season 4. So it's set up pretty nicely, and I like I liked all that setup. It was good.
Yeah, I thought that took me by surprise. I think that's why I quite enjoyed it, is that I feel like it would have been really like, it's hard to follow the season 2 finale with Luke because that was like, holy shit. And then obviously he goes off with Grogu and the audience is like, what the fuck? And you're left hanging for a while. So I feel like it's hard to follow that in terms of well, what's next? And I thought that this just did it in a really nice way where it was almost like it really felt like the end of a chapter, that it was kind of like the Mandalorian kind of Mandalore setup is done, and now what's next is Din and Grogu's adventures through.
Because I mean, they'll go back to like the Mandalore people. Won't
Yeah,
they?
I'm sure it'll still be there.
They'll dive in and out of those, or they'll need them a couple of episodes. But I think it's good for them to move away a little bit from it. Because they're going to have to rebuild and things. So, which means they'll introduce new characters. I don't know about the villain. I don't know if Moff Gideon will.
I feel like he's dead. Like he got pretty.
It did seem like he was dead. I mean, because he's been the villain now the last 2 seasons. Was he the villain in season 1 as well? Yeah, he was. Wasn't he?
Yeah, he's done 3 seasons.
So 3 seasons now. So it depends on where they want to go, because obviously they're building now. I mean, the next season has to build towards the film that they want to do, right? I
mean, I feel like
all of these Boba Fett and
I feel like this is whatever they do as a big villain is going to end up being Thrawn. Like I know he's in Ahsoka, but I feel like Thrawn is a big villain, and if they just do him in Ahsoka, I'm not sure if it's.
I think he'll be the main villain of that film. Like I think they're going to do.
He kind of deserves that time, I think.
Yeah, they're going the other way, aren't they? They're doing the opposite way to like the Marvel stuff, right? They're building it all up in TV shows to build to a film, whereas in Marvel they've built it up in films to lead to TV shows to go back into the film. So I really liked season 3. I think it was. I enjoyed pretty much every episode every week, and loved that theme song at the end. It's just the headbanger, obviously, that we said last time. So I'm looking forward to more. I'm really looking forward to the next one in August. Ahsoka, is that out then? Is it?
Yeah, it's Ahsoka. Yeah, I think that is August.
Which looks really good, and the trailer for that is, like we said the last podcast, it's really, really cool.
The score for that's really good as well. I watched the trailer back the other day, and there's a bit where the score hits, and I was like, it's not a traditional Star Wars score. There's something about it where I was like, ooh, kind of the same way Andor. The score for that was just like, fucking.
Scores are really good for all of these TV shows, aren't they? But it does, and we talked about last time, this stuff does get me more and more hyped for more Star Wars on the big screen. Like, what the future holds, because a lot of people didn't like the sequel trilogy. Which I don't really agree with. Again, because I'm not like the biggest Star Wars fan. I'm just a good fan, honest fan,
good fan.
And I think they could do something really special with these films to get people. And I think if they focus away from another trilogy, if it's just like a trilogy of films rather than a continuation of films, you know, like I think that's the way that they're going to go, and I think that will work. So, so something else that's been we're watching, and this isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea on this podcast, but hey, we don't
should
talk about it, what's the point?
Yeah.
So The Marvelous Miss Maisel,
Oh my god.
which is a fantastic TV show.
Yes.
We're both big fans. And your partner's a fan, right? As well?
No, he hasn't. Although, so he hasn't watched any of it. But when I was watching those first 2 or 3 episodes, I was watching one of them, I think in the morning, just before he got up, and he got up and caught about halfway through an episode. And I think I caught him enjoying it. I think he was.
I'm extremely disappointed.
I know. Yeah, but it's just so good.
The good thing is,
yeah,
he has to watch it all anyway, because you'll make him watch it from the beginning one day. So then you get to relive its greatness.
exactly.
So
yeah,
for anyone who's not seen it, just don't be put off by the title. Because I think I talked again, always what I talked about before, but easily I would be put off by the title, and I was put off by it. Oh, like when it first came out, I was like, "We're going to watch this." I was like, but man, it will hook you in. It is some of the best. Kind of reminds me of a lot of like the Newsroom, how well that was scripted, like the long takes from it was Sorkin, wasn't it? He did Newsroom. So like the long takes where it's like Jeff Daniels will be in the office, but he'll walk out and there'll be 2 people either side of him. They'll be walking through a room and bang, 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 bang. And everyone knew where they were supposed to be. And every conversation pinged in. It wasn't like there were gaps. It was just so fast paced sometimes. And then you actually get to the end of like what would potentially be a full 10-minute take. And you just feel like, how on earth did they do that? And the same is with Marvelous Maisel, because the script is so strong and the actors are so damn good that you can't help but just fall in love with the whole thing. Like, and it's not even just the main cast; it's like these sub actors, right? It's like there are these mobsters, these 2 mobsters, and they're just so well placed in every scene that they're in. And there's this dad of this main character, Ms. Maisel, called Abe, and just every character pulls their weight and it all flows. And it doesn't matter how small the scene is. If it's just 2 people, if it's 8 people, they do these big scenes where it's just them around a table, and it just is so snappy.
Yeah.
But in this new season, they do flash forwards.
Yes.
Which I am really hating every episode.
Okay.
Because so there are spoilers, but they're flash forwarding so far ahead that it's kind of taken the fun of where will these characters go, because obviously there's going to be another jump forward probably. So at the moment you've got Joel in jail when he's older, which you don't know what for, but in my head you kind of assume he's going to get roped in with these mobsters because he said he was trying to protect her. Ms. Maisel seems like an absolute bitch, which is not a nice thing for her, because she's not really billed as a bitch in the whole thing. She's just nice and she's good to everyone. Susie is the one who's come out the best out of the whole situation, but they're not friends. And there's so many like nuggets of who is she going to end up with? Is there going to be a guy who's going to sweep off? Is it going to be Joel? Is it going to be the comedian Lenny? Lenny?
Lenny,
yeah. Is it going to be the presenter that she's currently flirting with? There are all these things, because we know it's the last season as well. But instead, it's just like, oh, she's been married 4 times in the future, and this is this, and a kid's out. It just feels like they're pushing it on us for no reason. But didn't you say you had a theory about what you think they're doing?
I have a feeling that it's to basically say that for Midge, it's never been about the who she's with. It's about being something bigger. It's about like what she's building. So even though in the future she's very self-involved and you can tell that it's very much about her, like the way that she interacts with her kids and stuff, she doesn't really know them, and Joel has like kind of a fractured relationship, and she sounds like she's on the road a lot. The thing you take away from it is that she makes it. Like the whole show has basically been, I want to be a comedian, and I want to be, the best. And the flash forward is like, yeah, she does make it, but at what cost? And I think that's the thing that they're showing you, is that she's pushed for this thing, and what it's done is pushed her in a way that she's had to become very self-centered. And I feel like part of the thing with Midge is that this season makes it more apparent. She kind of spreads herself quite thin because she's trying to kind of please everybody. Like she's kind of got her hands in everything, trying to do it all. And ultimately I feel like it's going to come to a point where it's kind of like she just focuses on the career, and the career is what wins. Is that we kind of know now that she'll end up in the limelight. Yeah, which I kind of like. Because for me, I really like Lenny as a character. He's a real person as well, which I only found out last season. Was that he was a real comedian, and his Carnegie Hall appearance is like notorious. It's
game changer.
Yeah. And his conversation with her at the end of the last season just absolutely broke me. I've talked about it before, but when he's like, basically like, if you're not working at it and pushing for it, and you mess up this chance, you'll break my heart. And so I feel like, because I know the story of Lenny, like I know where he goes in real life. The flash forward sort of makes sense to me, I think, in a way that I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I can kind of get what she's done.
It's not terrible. Like it's not terrible. It's just something that they've not done in the previous seasons. Like there's been no flash forwarding. There's been no flashbacks. Like there was maybe a couple when she was little, but it just feels a bit out of. It feels like they've like this is our last season. Let's get all this in. But I feel like they could have done it. I feel like they could have built it up for half the season or so, and then they could have done like an episode, just an episode where it's the future maybe. But later on, I just feels a bit shoved in there, I think. But I don't. The last episode, which is, I don't know where we'll be by the time this releases, but it was the one with the boat,
Great.
The boat episode, and that was a really good episode, but it didn't really have that many flash forwards in it. So I was kind of like, okay, we're a bit better now. I think it had the one with her son in, maybe.
No, I think that one.
Or was it? No, it was the one before.
That was the one that just came out was the Joel one. It was opened up with you find out that Joel's in prison. And she's signing headshots.
It's a fantastic show. Like it should definitely not fall on the radar, and you can see why it's so well received by critics. And you can, I don't know why there isn't. I mean, there must be a very good audience for it to go on so long, and I think it's got a pretty good budget as well in terms of like what the thing is. But it's worth it if you are listening to this and you think, oh, like it doesn't sound like my cup of tea. It is. It will be if you enjoy very good writing and shows. I mean, thank God they probably finished recording it now. I mean, rightfully so. There's a writer's strike, but it's I'd be gutted if it just stopped.
Yeah, it's so well written and so well directed. I keep thinking, especially in this season, like they've kind of done it sporadically throughout all of the seasons, where they do these really impressive camera shots where it's just like they'll start in one place. And they'll go up like a flight of stairs, or they'll go up something, and the camera just stays constantly. It's like a really long take, and there's so many moving parts to it. That stuff is always just super impressive.
Really impressive.
And in this episode, the one that's just come out, I don't know if you saw it, but when they introduce the boat, like when everybody's on the boat, the camera like starts over the river, goes onto the boat, goes up some stairs, goes into the crowd, and follows people around. I was like, that must have just been such a. I'm sure they did it on like a green screen or something, but it's still impressive to have all in so many moving parts, and always just keep the camera on track and everybody know where they've got to be and stuff. It's just.
They did it on the ice ring episode as well, didn't they? That camera came on the ice rink and it followed everyone around until it was Maisie was spinning around the presenter. They bumped into each other.
Yeah.
And also like the scripted things, like with when she does come off the boat and she's been arrested and she's in the jacket and everything. That whole scene. Those like characters that we've never even seen before, and they're all just bouncing off each other. It's, I mean, that's Susie and her together is like that's gold, isn't it? That's what is.
Yeah, their relationship is amazing.
Yeah, she's
Um,
really good.
and I like seeing like even Susie's office as well in this season, that it's like so buzzy and it kind of goes across the street and stuff. And the way that they tie in a conversation between somebody in another building, in another room, and then in Susie's room, and all of them are kind of in the same thing. Like, so
What made
impressive.
her get so popular all of a sudden? Like, Yannick and I were wondering, like, all of a sudden she's just got a slew of clients, but where? It seems like we actually went back to see if we missed an episode. Like, all of a
I
sudden,
think I think it's just that she started to get more contacts, because it's like she says she picked up a cabaret singer at that bathhouse when she went to see that guy. Because the girl singing there, when she came back, she said, "Oh, I gave my card to a cabaret, so I've just signed a cabaret." And I think it's
yeah,
stuff like that where it's just obviously she's sort of just out and about and pulling people in, which is great.
just like
Because
you with our Kickstarter.
yes, I need to be more like Susie, obviously.
Yeah, hit
Um,
the town.
yeah, but yeah, that stuff's really cool. And again, I think that kind of like leans into what the future stuff is doing, where it's kind of you can kind of see Midge and Susie kind of going on separate paths a little bit. Like Susie's going to be spread so thin with so many clients, and Midge is going for kind of the
Well, if
top.
she gets too popular, she won't need as much. She won't need Susie as much, right? And then at
Yeah,
some point, there's probably going to be some
thing that
butting of
breaks up.
heads
Yeah,
where like one of them needs the other one, and it doesn't work out. So
yeah,
it's a great show. Everyone
so
should
good.
check it out.
Yeah.
Something else that's coming out soon then. There's been a new trailer in the last couple of weeks for the new Flash film, which is out in June. Um, we know several people that have had nice screenings early, and we're very jealous. We don't know anything, but
Yeah.
we are we are both of us are. I'm very excited because I'm a big fan of Michael Keaton,
Mhm.
Batman Returns, Batman '89, Batman Returns. So I'm excited to see him. I think it looks like it could be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm unsure.
Uh,
I don't
I
know.
I also feel I'm quite ready for like the come down from it, because there's a lot these days of like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. It happened with Black Adam, right? There was so many good early reactions, like Dwayne Nails being Black Adam. This is gonna rejig the DC universe. This is it. Wait till you see the end credits and stuff like that, and then it's like, no, it
It
wasn't
was
very good.
terrible.
All these things. I feel like there's been so many false dawns with DC now, and even now, even if it is good, I feel like I can't enjoy it because all I can think about is that James Gunn's doing something different, even though
Yeah.
he might keep Jason Momoa as
Yeah.
Aquaman, and he might keep Ezra Miller as Flash. Just feels like might just be okay, you know?
Yes, yeah, there is obviously that overhanging it. I know a bunch of kind of people have recently said that they wondered if Shazam flopped because James Gunn had announced
Oh,
DC upfront.
it's definitely played a part in it, but I also think Zachary Levi did not help himself at all.
Yeah, I don't think.
So,
Again, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on the quality of the film. Um,
but everyone said that was great as well. Early
yeah, it's true.
reactions,
Yeah, yeah.
really
The
good,
audience
really,
score
really
of
good.
that was pretty good. Like,
So the audience score, I mean, that's what you focus on, right? The audience score.
yeah,
You know, I've said this a million times as well. Like, there's critics and audience. Like, if I look at Rotten Tomatoes, which everyone does, right? Mostly, they're all like, "Is it good?" But if it's got a very good audience score, then I trust that I could easily side with the audience, but I can also be critical, and see the size of the critics as well. But I'm a big believer that a lot of critics, they don't choose a lot of the films that they watch, right?
hmm
So someone who hates superhero films, I read it, like I told you before, I read a review about Quantumania, Ant-Man film, and this guy was like, I hate superhero films. I was like, well, this is not going to be the film for you, my friend.
hmm
So, and he gave it like 1 star. But you know, he probably would give a film like The Whale or something like that 5 stars. I don't know. So I just think I can't trust early impressions of it.
yeah, I agree.
So I think it's going to have to be same with Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm seeing this week.
Yeah,
I don't know when this will be out, but I'll be seeing it this week, which is its release week. And that's got very good. I mean, that had very good early reviews. It's held up with reviews that have come out for it since. I think it's like it's 70 something percent critics and There's no audience score yet, I don't think.
Don't think so. But that
Um,
was another one where like the social media reactions were like, it's the best thing
yeah, like
seen in
Marvel's
him. It's
back.
amazing. Yeah, and
I
then
was
it
like,
all the
okay.
reviews have sort of like slowly gone, like it started on like 90% and then it's just
And it's
dips and dips
dipped,
and
yeah.
dips.
But
And it
again,
seems
you
like,
look through those
yeah,
reviews, it's people that a lot of people who are just I think they're glad to have something that feels a bit better than maybe some of the recent stuff that's come out. But also, there's a lot of people that are just like, if you make me watch another Marvel film, I'm gonna put a gun to my head, pull the trigger. So I want to watch Marvel film. Stop sending me to do reviews of Marvel films.
yeah,
And it's like, well, okay, we won't say okay, but you can do the Flash. Like,
yeah,
and these a lot of these reviews as well are they give high praise to one film and negative praise to something that's extremely similar, right?
yeah,
Like, you could easily say Guardians of Galaxy 1 and 2 are like essentially the same film,
yeah, they are.
right? But they have completely different ratings.
Yeah, which is,
So
yeah, yeah. I don't know.
so
Yeah,
I don't know about the Flash. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm excited to finally see it. I like the Flashpoint comic a lot. I like the idea of Michael Keaton's Batman being there. I think Superwoman or
girl.
is it Supergirl?
I think it is Supergirl.
Supergirl
Yeah,
looks good.
yeah.
Um, I'm all for Zod being back. You know,
I think he's going to be quite minor. I actually don't think he's the villain of the film.
no, I have my thoughts on who the villain of the film is.
Is it the other
Which,
Barry,
yeah, I kind of assume he's going to be
Reverse Flash?
Reverse Flash due to
Yeah,
his. I've got that based on his costume, right?
yeah, because it is a Batman suit, which is painted red, but I assume will go black at
Yeah,
some point, and he'll be Reverse Flash.
yeah, that's what I think as well. So it's different
Yeah,
worlds, isn't it? Because I think it says in his trailer that he comes from one with his parents are okay or something.
yeah, they're alive, and he hasn't been hit by the um,
Lightning
bolt.
bolt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um,
So yeah, I assume that's going to be the way, but I'm hopeful that it's good. I'm just very ready to get past all of the Zack Snyder stuff. I know I don't mind a lot of the Zack Snyder. I love Man of Steel, like love it. Got mixed feelings about Batman, Superman. Didn't like the Justice League, but that wasn't his fault. But I'm just ready to move on from it. The whole thing, like I just feel like it needs a hard reboot. And I'm happy to see what James Gunn and stuff could do. But
yeah,
I really wish they just said none of these actors and actresses, as talented as they are, as wonderful as they are, any of the roles that they've played, they will not be playing again in the future. I don't care if it's Flash or Aquaman or Superman or Batman. It's like we start again because that. I just think otherwise you're just holding on to something that is broken.
yeah,
So
yeah. I agree with that. That like as big as a Zack Snyder fan as I am, um, like I'm happy to accept that we got Zack's Justice League, and that's that. Um,
there's that.
like I'd like more, and it'd be cool if they ever went back and just did it as an animated or a comic book or something, just to finish it, so I can
Yeah, I
see.
think there's room for that. Like, I think
Yeah,
you can have James Gunn stuff, and then you can have this Elseworld stuff that he said,
yeah,
right? Like, this is a different thing, and
yeah, yeah.
however
But
they do it, and
the the
there's a lot of people that still want to see David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and I'd
yeah,
love to see it if it was his vision. I'd love to
yeah,
see it, and I'd be happy if that was like something going to happen. But I think like we need what I long for is like not to rush these new films. I'm glad they're taking on some characters that are a bit different. I think some of them are a bit too far out there for now, but if you can get Swamp Thing in there and a new Superman and things like that, I think
mm,
those things can work, and then you gradually build to a Justice League, like a few,
yeah,
because they're called chapters, aren't they? These ones he's doing chapter
yeah.
one and chapter two.
Yeah, chapter one. Yeah,
So,
I don't think he's announced what
so
chapter
yeah,
it is. Yeah, the Flash looks fine to me. Like the trailer, obviously cool to see Keaton, cool to see more Affleck because I'm a big Affleck fan. Um, but it just doesn't have a thing to it. Like when we saw the trailer for the Batman, it was like, oh my god, that
holy shit,
the tone, the visuals, the music, it was all like,
that was
this is
such a good
amazing.
trailer, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
such a good
and
trailer.
I feel like the Flash, if you take out Michael Keaton's Batman from that trailer, it's just fine.
I feel like they kind of ruined that a little bit as well, though, in the trailer. I feel like it's kind of like, I know at the tagline, like, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts. Like, but just don't, why'd you put it in there? Like,
there's a lot of fan service going on in the trailer. I think that's the thing.
There is, yeah.
It's not sold me on like a style and a tone and kind of given me a feeling of like this. I didn't know I needed this. It feels like a big superhero event. And hopefully I'm wrong. Like, hopefully I watch it and I go, oh shit, like the trailer just didn't sell me that film because it was trying not to spoil it or something. But I just don't feel like it's got an interesting visual style yet that I've seen in a trailer. Whereas something like the Batman or the Joker or like even some of Zach's stuff, like it immediately has a tone that you recognize as something else. Like they're the really good Marvel movies as well. It's like the Marvel movies where you're like, that doesn't look like the other Marvel movie. The ones where the Marvel movies are like, that is okay, looks exactly the same as the other Marvel movies. It's like, let me know that it's a different director. Let me know that it's a different setup.
But even trailers are such a big deal, obviously, really, to hook people in. But even the Marvel trailers, like Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, Ant-Man trailer, like those trailers are okay, but some of them used to be like epic. Like the Civil War trailer, when that first came out, and it was like the opening thing is like cutting across the water, going towards the raft, and it was just so well done. Like it didn't give away too much, but there's been quite a few trailers that have done that, but some of them are just there's very, very similar landscape. Like New York, and then it's like da da da, and then it's just. I have the same vibe with the Flash. It kind of just feels like, although I'm excited about it, I'm not like chomping at the bit. I'm jealous that people have seen it because it's a superhero film that I want to see. And I want to see it now, but I just feel like it's just a bit of a mess still. So I'd be interested. I think if I come out of this and they've rejigged it so much that I'm like, okay, now I see where this part is going, I'll be happy. But we will obviously see it and we will review it in a future podcast. So
we will, yes. The only thing that I want from it is, because I've read, minor spoiler, that at the end he returns to a universe which might not be his own, which is the Flash. But
even that's fine. Like so if they are going to keep these actors and stuff, as long as it makes sense at the end of this film, because this for me, like I said a million times, this is where they could do a reset, right? So if they come out of this and it's like, hey, I don't recognize anyone, or everything's different, but then Jason Momoa shows up as Aquaman. He's like, hey, I remember you, but he's like, I have no idea who you are. Like, okay, great. So they're keeping this, and this, or however they want to spin it. So,
see, I want it bolder. I want it to end that he ends up in the universe where Nick Cage is Superman.
Oh yeah, that'd be even cooler.
That would be the coolest ending. Is if
cool.
Flash rocks up and then Nick Cage appears as Superman, and that's it. They cut to black. I would just be like.
And they end all the DC films and never goes any further.
I feel like you've done it. That's all I needed. That would be so good. So,
All right. Well, that is the end of this episode of the Consistently Okay podcast. Thank you all for listening. If you want to hear more of our old podcast, you can find us anywhere. You just search on your podcast place. Where I don't know what's it called?
App
provider. That's
provider.
App. Whatever. Search for Consistently Okay podcast. So you can find us on social media: Twitter at Consistently Pod, YouTube, you search for Consistently Okay podcast, and Instagram at Consistently Pod as well. And check out some of our older stuff. Tune in for our newer stuff. Stay safe.
Yes.
And thanks a lot, Nick.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Our next episode is
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah, so we're doing in depth at the moment for the Skewerverse film. So there's a Dogma one that is also just dropped, and the next one is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So if you're interested in the Kevin Smith films, and that is what we're doing an in depth for on this season, because this is a good podcast.
Yes.
All right, next pop culture one, we'll have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 to talk about.
Yeah, I will talk a bit about Star Wars Jedi Survivor as well, because I'm about 11 hours.
I will talk a little bit about Star Wars Fallen Order. So I'm going to play the first game.
Please do
So-
play that on Twitch because I want to watch you play it. That sounds weird.
I will let you watch me play Star Wars Fallen Order.
Amazing.
So awesome. All right, everyone, take care.
We'll catch you.
Bye.
Bye.